Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Monica, and in today's video we're going to talk about how to know if someone is thinking about you. So I'm guessing a lot of people who are going to click on this video probably have a crush and are wondering if that crush is thinking about them, and I totally understand. Been there, done that when I was dating before I met my husband like 13 years ago, but I totally remember that feeling. This is one way that you may be able to tell if they're thinking about you, but it also is just a cool way to see and test out if anyone is thinking of you at a certain time. This is something I started discovering a few years ago, and mainly I started discovering it with my best friend. And she had practiced some techniques with her mom, who was also very spiritual and very intuitive and very sensitive to picking up on energy. And so this had me thinking, because I've been realizing a few things lately where I've noticed that I could tell that certain people were thinking about me. Okay, so I want to say first that I believe that we all have an individual consciousness, and that there is also a collective consciousness. And I believe that all human beings are connected. Like, we all come from the source of whatever you want to call it. We all come from one singular place. And even though we're all in individual bodies here on incarnated on Earth, we are still very connected, especially telepathically. I believe that we were never really meant to use words. Words kind of separate us more, but that the original language for humans was telepathy. We could just feel other people's emotions, or understand and hear their thoughts, so to speak. So I will say, or give a few examples of what I've experienced on my journey with knowing someone's thinking about me. So typically what will happen is I will have someone pop into my mind, what feels like almost randomly, just sporadically. Like, they say we have, I don't remember, like 80,000 thoughts in a day, and like 90% of them are habitual or something like that. And it's usually continued from the day before and the day before that, and so on and so forth. And it feels like a lot of times our thoughts are just automatic. And for me, I definitely have what some people have termed the monkey mind, where I just feel like my mind's just always going, thinking about so many random things of what I need to do and where I need to go and blah, 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 blah. It just never shuts off, right? So anyways, I will find myself thinking about maybe one particular thing, and then all of a sudden a friend will pop up in my head. And there was nothing that in that moment was reminding me of them. It's just like a random thought about them, like something they said or something we did together, like a certain memory, it'll just come to mind. And I noticed that when that would happen, I would think, for example, oh, I haven't heard from my best friend in a while. And I texted her like a week ago or something. And I didn't think about her a lot during that time, but it's like she just kept popping up in my mind on a certain day. And I keep thinking, I keep thinking of her randomly. I wonder if I'm gonna hear from her soon. And usually it will be the same day, but if not that day, it's the next day that she will text me back. And I've talked to her on the phone about this. I'm like, man, I was just thinking about you. Like, you kept popping in my head. And she'll say like, oh, you know why? Because that day I had planned on texting you back, but I got really busy and like all these things happened, but I kept thinking about you and thinking I wanted to text you back, but I didn't get to it till the next day. And so that for me just became a confirmation that when she would pop into my mind randomly, again, nothing would remind me of her, that meant that she was thinking about me. And we also talked about doing a little experiment, and this is not something that we ended up doing, but actually, you know what, I will save that towards the end. That'll be like a little exercise or practice I can give you guys if you want to test this out for yourselves. So anyways, this has happened a lot with my best friend. I feel like we are very intuitively connected. We'll usually be thinking about each other around the same time. Another way I've noticed that it seems like people were thinking about me is if, again, they popped in my mind like other people. And sometimes it'll be people I haven't thought about for a while, but it's like as soon as I do, all of a sudden I will get a text from them again that same day, or a phone call, or a Facebook message, or an Instagram message, or I'll end up seeing them. It's like, like bumping into them. It just feels like what felt like before I thought of as just coincidence. And again, I don't believe in coincidences. I believe in synchronicity. So I really started to pay attention to the signs of when it seemed like somebody was thinking about me. So what I want to add to this as well is that, actually there was one more thing I wanted to say. Okay, also if I don't hear from them, sometimes I will see their name different places, or I will, like in a book or a magazine, or I'll read it somewhere, I'll see their name. And then also another thing is, or I'll hear their name, I'll hear other people talking about someone and I hear them mention that name, or I'll meet someone and then they have the same name as that person that I had been popping into my mind that I was thinking about. Another way to tell if someone's thinking about you is if you constantly are seeing people who look like that person that you're thinking about, who pops into your mind. So like, for instance, again, my best friend, she has this really long, beautiful, super tight curly hair. She's Caucasian, but she has blonde curly hair. And I guess I said blonde, so that probably clued you in. But anyways, it's hair that like, it's so unique that you almost never see another person with it. And it's so unique that she's told me that every single time she goes out, like grocery shopping or something, and she runs into other people or she's around other people, at least one person will come up and compliment her hair and tell her how beautiful it is and how unique it is. And I'll ask her if it's really her curls or if she permed it or curled it or something. So anyways, over the last few months, I've been seeing quite a few people who not only have like the similar texture and curl and color of her hair, but I've also seen people who look like her. They'll usually have the same kind of petite stature or about the same height or just a very similar face. And I've been seeing people like that in real life, like just going out in public. I remember going to a concert not too long ago and I saw like 20 people who looked like her. And even my husband kept telling me, he's like, oh, that looks like your friend and that looks like your friend. And I'm like, I know, it's crazy, right? And then the same with this television show I had just started watching. There's this one character who looks exactly like her and has the same hair. And it was just totally tripping me out. And makes sense because we've talked more and more over the last few years and we've thought about each other a lot and trying to keep in contact with each other, but always, sometimes, well, not always, but sometimes we just get busy and we're not able to respond. So it's like we almost pick up telepathically that we're thinking about each other. All right, so I think those are the main ways that I can say that I've experienced, that I've noticed someone thinking about me. So if you're curious about if someone's thinking about you, you can kind of apply the same techniques. You can, but I want to say too, is that I think it's a little bit different. Let me differentiate this. So like, if you're intentionally thinking about someone, like, let's say you're thinking about someone and their birthday's coming up and you're trying to think of what to get them. So over a period of time before their birthday, you're thinking about them intentionally and what to get them. Or you go to see gifts and you think of gifts that might be something that they'd like and that maybe you want to buy. That's not quite the same thing. Same as if, like, let's say you're looking at, again, a gift. Let's say a friend gave you a gift and you're looking at that gift at home or something, and then you think of that friend because you think of the gift because they gave it to you. That's also not quite the same thing. So it's different if you're intentionally, consciously trying to think about someone. Let's say you are thinking about your crush constantly and you're daydreaming about them and you're thinking about scenarios in the future, or you're thinking about conversations you had in the past. That might not quite be the same thing either. It's more like you're not thinking about them and it just almost seems like a force is just popping them into your mind. Like you're seeing them, you're thinking about them, and you're not quite sure why. It's just like, I don't know, I haven't thought about this person in a while. Or you were thinking about what you're gonna make for lunch and all of a sudden that person pops into your mind. It's more like that, that I've noticed. So now let's get to ways that you can kind of practice knowing if they're thinking about you. And of course, the only surefire way to know if someone's thinking about you is to ask them. And I know that's not always possible or not always appropriate, but if you can practice this, let's say with a family member or a friend who maybe is open-minded to this kind of stuff, that would be the best way, I would say. One way to do it is you could, whenever that person pops into your mind, you can make an agreement with this person that you will text them at that time and ask them, hey, are you thinking about me because you just popped into my mind? If that's too much, and you can practice this over a period of whatever period you want, like a period of a day, a period of a few days, a period of a week. I know that can seem to get a little tedious if you have to constantly keep texting each other back and forth, especially if that person pops into your mind a lot and you may be busy and not be able to text them right then. But you can practice it once in a while. Maybe it doesn't have to be every single time you think of them, just whenever you get a chance to text them. Another way is, and this is something my friend and I talked about that we didn't end up getting to do because we got busy, but you could have like a notepad and a pen or something like that, or a notepad on your phone, and agree with that person that anytime they just randomly pop into your mind, to make a note of the date and the time. And then do that over again, like a day, like 24-hour period, or a few days or a week. And then at the end of that period, like talk to each other and compare your notes and see if you guys were thinking about each other around the same time. I think that is something my friend did with her mom, and it worked really well. So yeah, again, I just believe that we are all energetically connected, whether we realize it or not. Some people are just more conscious of it. Some people aren't aware, or they don't notice when it's happening, because I feel like it's always happening. And it's crazy because I've even had people I haven't talked to in like a year or two who will text me sometimes, and they'll be like, you've been on my mind a lot, I've been thinking about you. And again, that person just popping in my head, and I'm just like, what? I haven't talked to this person in what feels like forever. So why do I keep thinking about them? And yeah, I just feel like I'm especially sensitive to energy and picking up on the collective consciousness. Sometimes it can be a little difficult sometimes. I don't always know what are my true feelings, especially as an empath, and what I'm feeling from the collective, because I realize that not all my thoughts are my own thoughts, not all my feelings are my own feelings, and trying to really hone in on what is mine and what isn't mine. All right, so that is it for today's video. Please let me know if you try any of the practices, like with a friend or family member, to see if that person is thinking about you around the same time that you're thinking about them. And I just recommend trying to be more conscious of it, pay attention when people pop into your mind, and notice if they contact you within, relatively short amount of time, like that day, the next day, or within a few days. And it can be just a fun little practice to see, someone's thinking about you. And again, you can't really know for sure unless you ask them. So yeah, you'll just have to go with your own intuition if you're not able to ask them. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that you got something from it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.